Hello, and please feel welcome to Talk About Men. Welcome to the jungle. I might screw up sometimes, and that's okay. This instalment is about my first married man. I would get to college early, and one day I ended up sitting with Lee and his friend. Lee was absolutely gorgeous, with a shaven head and blue eyes. He always wore big boots and in general looked very masculine. I began to flirt with him, and his friend said, "He's got a wife and 6 kids. This didn't seem to put me off, and I would go along to the poetry club that Lee went along to, and I would read poems really flirtatiously, obviously aimed in his direction. Lee was an Odinist, and I was a pagan, so I was like, oh, another pagan, wow, and really inspired by this, as it was very rare to meet someone with my religion in the village where I had grown up. Of course, as an Odinist though, he didn't really consider himself a pagan, and he looked down on pagans. He was of the school of Odinism. I know not all Odinists are like this, but he was intensely racist, and his Odinism was as a result of his racism. He had been involved in Combat 18, which is a very militant, violent, right-wing organisation. He claimed that his house had even been raided by the police for propaganda and stuff like that. He had a very bizarre attitude to sex. He seemed to view it as very dirty. He first had sex at the age of 11 with an older girl, and he said, "I was raped, really." He said it as if it was a joke, but of course it is actually the case. So yeah, uptight about sex. One time we were talking about anal, like just in passing, and he went, I wasn't overly keen on anal because like I was still a virgin, so it was just a hypothetical topic. And he went, "Oh no, that's gay." Even in 1994, people didn't consider anal as gay. It was just, something maybe slightly dirty in a straight relationship, but not gay. So yeah, even though I was still a virgin, I didn't have any hang-ups about sex at all. I thought it would just be interesting and good. I was very liberal, whereas he had all this racism. So after that, he left for university. I dropped a letter in his pigeonhole with my phone number on. He called and he said, "Oh, Kathryn, I love you. I want you. I think you've bitten off more than you can chew." Again, we met and had a wander around the park. We sat in a shelter next to the lake. He said, "I can't take your virginity." I said, "There's nothing I would want more." And he went, "Oh, no, no." This is what the whole thing was like. It was like Brief Encounter or something like deadly romantic. Once we sat in a pub in Lichfield. He was drinking a glass of port. I can't remember what I was drinking, probably squash. I just remember being so delighted to be sat in a pub with him. When we were in the pub, he kissed me, and then he went, "Oh no, no, I shouldn't have done that." We went back to my mum's house, and we attempted to have sex. He just basically jumped on top of me, like this was all consensual. What I mean is there was no foreplay or anything like that. And he tried to move in a corkscrew motion, but he was completely impotent. And he said, "Oh, this has never happened before. It must be because of the guilt." Eventually he said, I can't go out with you because you're bisexual. I can't have you around my kids. And he refused to accept my offer of my mum giving him a lift back to Lichfields, which was quite a walk away. He insisted on walking away on his own because he was ashamed probably to face my mum because of what he was doing. So I was absolutely gutted, sad and hurt that someone would say that my bisexuality meant that I couldn't be around children, and that someone that I love so much would dump me for this. I knew this was wrong, but again, like with the Daniel incident, I didn't get angry. Honestly, don't be sad, get angry. He was just plain wrong about this. So even though this relationship wasn't about sex, it wasn't an example of married men using people for sex, as is most commonly the case. I would say steer clear of married men based on this incident, because they are really messed up at the best. And they will vacillate between staying with their wife, going with you, and it's still not showing them as being as good character if they're prepared to do this. Thank you for listening to me talk about men. Please like, share and subscribe. If you have a story to tell, you can email the link in the description. You can share anonymously.